Hello everybody, welcome back. I hope you've had a wonderful week. It's so good to see you all again, and if you are new here then hello, my name's Abby. It's great to have you with us. Today I'm doing, drumroll please, reading 1-star reviews of my favourite book, and maybe that will give you an indication of how well my week was, because I'm obviously craving pain. I did this exact video about 3 years ago when I was still at university, and although it was really painful, it was also really fun. I don't know, there's just something about knowing how different we all are as humans and seeing everyone's different opinions on books and media and seeing what they had to say about the books that I love and I hold dear to my heart. Since that video was years ago now, I have since acquired more favourite books that I'm willing to put myself through reading bad reviews of in order for your entertainment. You're welcome. I don't know what the psyche behind me wanting to do this again is, but we're doing it. Last time I read reviews from Amazon, which was an experience. This time I think I'm going to stick to my roots. I'm going to stick to Goodreads and see what we find on there. I don't really use Goodreads that much anymore personally, but I know obviously it's one of the biggest, if not the biggest, reader platform. So that's where we're headed today. So without further ado, let's read some 1-star scathing reviews of the books that I would lay down my life for. I'm scared. Okay, so first up, I've decided to do Beartown by Frederick Backman. I've spoken about this book so much, you're probably all exhausted of it and of me, but I stand by what I said. I think it's one of the best books I've ever read in my life, hence why it's in this video. I'm fully in the realm of delusion. I'm on the Goodreads page right now, and I'm thinking, surely there's not a single person on planet Earth that's read this book that hasn't given it 5 stars. Surely no one has given this 1 star. Surely no one has disliked it. Of course I know that I'm wrong. To me, it was literally perfect. So I can't envision where these faults are going to lie for these other people, but we're going to find out. This is Beartown by Frederick Backman, translated by Neil Smith. It currently has 515,395 ratings on Goodreads with 60,647 reviews. We are averaging a 4.9 star review, which is, in my opinion, extremely good. But of course, there are some 1-star reviews of this book, and we're here to find them. My pulse is racing. I'm a little bit scared. Okay, someone has said, wow, this is the first book I've read from Frederick Backman, and it is absolutely terrible. Worst book I have ever finished. Okay, let's see what facts we're using to back this up. Okay, the writing is unrefined, simplistic, and melodramatically monotoned. Ooh, I couldn't disagree more. I really couldn't disagree more. This is scathing. It thinks that it explores a complex, contrived situation with depth, but instead it stumbles through caricatured people having unrealistic, forced conversations, all told with an excessive amount of eye-roll inducing dramatic platitudes. Ah! Ow! See? I thought every conversation was poignant. I thought the writing was beautiful. I thought the story was meaningful. I loved all the characters and their own quirks and their own ways. So this is really interesting to me to read this and to find someone that hated that aspect of the story and didn't gel with it at all. I feel like it's speaking to my soul in this book. Oh wow, okay. I hated this book. Hated the characters, hated the town, hated how everything ended. Maybe that was the author's intent, but all it left me feeling was pissed off and not in the right ways you'd probably supposed to after reading a book like this. I would say technically this isn't the ending to Beartown, because Beartown is a series of 3 books, all of which I loved. But hate is such a strong word. The use of the word hate is venomous, and this person obviously feels so strongly about their dislike for this book that they're using this word multiple times in their review. Wow, that is a strong emotion, and I gotta give it to them. They finished the book, they read it the whole way through, and they still have this opinion. So I guess it's so hard for me to sit here and read this because I disagree so strongly, but I have to respect people's opinions, and that's what I'm doing. The thought that I remember most vividly when I was reading Beartown was, wow, this author is incredible. I cannot wait to read more of their books. So the fact that this person's saying it's awful, they never want to read it again and they hated it. Oh wow. 2 sides of the same coin. There's one review here that just simply says, unbearable. Nothing more, nothing less. I appreciate a man of few words, but not in this case. Me reading 1-star reviews of my favourite books is unbearable, but I'm doing it anyway. Oh dear, someone's put here, extremely disappointed by this book and by the author. disappointed. It's one thing to tell someone you don't like something, but it's another to tell them that you're disappointed in them. Wow, I don't think I could personally handle that. Actually, I just don't think I could personally handle being an author. I can't even handle being a reviewer and having people disagree with me, so someone telling me they're disappointed in me, I think that would just tip me right over the edge. Someone has said, I was stupid enough to read the back cover and still not know what this was going to be about, but I'm glad it's over now. Lol. I, in most cases, do not know what a book's going to be about before I go into it. All I know is that I'm ready for the vibes. I've heard a few people talking about it, say it's good, and that's enough for me to be locked in. I also did not know what this book was going to be about. I didn't know the main theme was going to be centered around ice hockey, but I love ice hockey, I love ice skating, so I was digging it. But I was not glad that it was over. I was glad that I had a sequel to go on to immediately after, so the story would continue, it would never end. Well, obviously it was going to end, but it wouldn't end then. So half and half, like, sympathise with this one, can't lie. Someone simply says, not my kind of book. I appreciate that. I appreciate you, and that's valid. Moving on. Lots of people are using the word platitudes in their reviews, and it's giving me flashbacks to university and having that as a form of criticism on my essay, and it's evoking a certain emotion in me that I do not want to remember. Okay, I think I've taken all that I can reading slander about this book now, so I will be moving on to the next course of the video. The next book that I'm going to be reading 1-star reviews of is the one I've read most recently. I read this last July, I think it was, and it, in short, took over my entire life. It came out January of this year. I loved it so much, full of drama, full of suspense, ice skating. There seems to be a theme here, doesn't there? Ice skating, ice hockey, who would have guessed? I am kind of, again, erring on the side of being delulu, because I'm like, maybe there's not time, maybe hasn't been enough people to read this to rate it 1 star yet, blah blah blah. I'm sure there has. This currently sits at 4.26 average rating. It has 41,795 ratings with 11,794 reviews, which is pretty insane because it came out in January, so it's only been out about 3 months. I'm on the Goodreads review page, we're scrolling down to the reviews, we're seeing my 5-star glowing review on here, and we're about to go on a ride. My only favourite thing about the book is how the author didn't discriminate. They made everyone equally slap-worthy. True. You know, I can't even argue with you. There wasn't a time I was reading this book that I didn't want to slap each and every character. But yeah, although I don't disagree with this review, I disagree with its rating. If morally grey characters aren't something that you like in your books, I wouldn't recommend reading this. DNF. I guess if you like shitty people doing shitty things to one another, you'll like this. And like it, I did. I'm saying that, but it was actually so much more than that, in my opinion. It was high-stakes drama. Stories about the deep connections that human beings form throughout their life, to how much life tries to get in the way of that. It never will. And of course, yeah, there was some times where characters were doing not very nice things to other characters. But isn't that the case in every book? Moving on. I have not read a more convoluted, nonsensical, infuriating read. The fact that this is marketed as a romance is baffling. I haven't wished ill will towards a set of character more than these in a while. Wow, okay. I do get that part about being marketed as a romance, but it is hard to kind of categorize it because it is romance, but it also is more on the side of infatuation, which has disastrous and detrimental effects, but also is a story about two people who love each other very much. It is supposed to be based on Wuthering Heights. I'm gonna out myself here, I've not yet read that. I did wish ill will to some of the characters in this book. I will hold my hands up and say I did, but I also loved the drama. I love knowing that each character is as complex as the next, and that's what made this book so brilliant to me. So, yeah. Emily Bronte, I am so sorry. Yeah, I didn't think I have anything to add to that discourse. Another Emily Bronte girl, I'm so sorry you got dragged into this. I'm sure she doesn't mind. I would actually love to know what she thinks of this book, of this retelling, loose retelling of her story. Wouldn't you just love to go to the pub with the Brontes and just have a chat? Because I would. Trash, disappointing, poorly written, too much shock factor and cliche twist, like a super corny and cheesy telenovela. Hard pass. The only thing I can think of reading this review is Jane is a Virgin with the telenovela, so can't see anything else reading that. My eyes are closed. This book made me reconsider my stance on burning books. Wow, okay. All the characters sucked and you just take turns which one you hate more at the moment. True. I thought they would grow up, but they just stayed shitty, selfish people. I think there was a lot of character growth in this book. I think there was. A crime to call this a romance. Again, we've discussed this. I'm livid this book exists and that people recommend it. This reviewer is clearly not a fan of me then. Clearly we've got beef, me and this reviewer, because I recommend this book all the time. Has to be the two least likable MCs I've ever read. Drop your least favourite main characters in the chat right now, because I'm sure there's worse. I am positive that there are worse main characters. I'm looking at you, Magnolia Parks and BJ. Okay, again, I've reached my limit on slander of this book in particular. So I'm gonna move on once again to the final target of my searching of today's video. So the next book we are going to be discussing today is the book inspired by the jumper that I'm currently wearing, and that is Talking at Night by Claire Daverley. This has a slightly lower average rating than the last two books, and that is a rating of 3.94. We have 49,017 ratings with 7,629 reviews. I know all the people that I know personally who have read this book have all really liked it. I think no one's rated it lower than 4 stars. I don't know if that's because they're scared of me, but let's see the reasons why the people I don't know have rated this book 1 star and try not to cry. Okay, kicking it off strong. I knew we wouldn't be getting through any of these reviews without a mention of normal people, so let's go. To all the people that said this book is the new normal people, you deserve jail time. I wouldn't ever say this is a new normal people. I've said many times that I think it's better than normal people. I think the comparison comes from the fact that it follows 2 people throughout their lives who are just trying to be together and obviously love each other so much, but the world doesn't want that, and they're just kept apart through life circumstances. And the fact that this doesn't have speech marks is a point of contention with so many people with the narrative that it's trying to be like Sally Rooney. So I'm prepared for a lot of slander adjacent to Sally Rooney in these reviews, and this is kicking it off strong. So we're in it straight at the deep end. Oh! Both main characters were thrown off that cliff. I would have given this book 5 stars. Just gonna take a moment to process this one, guys. Also, for a book about talking at night, there wasn't much in terms of well-written and moving dialogue between the main characters. It was like 2 cardboard cutouts having a conversation with each other with a lot of commas, ellipses, and subtext. That is interesting. That is very interesting. I mean, this book evoked a lot of emotion in me, and I grew to love the main characters so much, despite their flaws. I was talking to my friend recently about this actually, and part of the reason I think that the dialogue works so well without the speech marks is because you have to then infer if they're saying it out loud or it's just something they're thinking, because they can't say what they are thinking. I can sympathise with the fact that there is a lot of prose, but I was very moved by it and I did enjoy the speech and the interactions, so I guess that's why we're all different. Here we go. Boring and contrived and wannabe plot and characters and normal people and cringy and no tears shed. There's a lot of ands there. There is a lot of ands. We let Sally Rooney get away with using no quotation marks and relying entirely on miscommunication to move a plot forward, but unfortunately that was a one-time thing, and I would never feel generous towards 2 literary shortcomings I hate again. At least Rooney believes in sad people hooking up. Damn. Yeah. It is a fair point to make that if you don't like the miscommunication trope, you're probably not going to like this book. Or normal people. That is the way a lot of these romance books work. People just don't talk to each other, as we don't in real life. Another review says, I only finished this out of spite. Well, I admire your grit and I admire your determination, and well done for having that ticked off as one of your books on your Goodreads goal. Proud of you. If Taylor Swift was a book, I mean, I would certainly enjoy that. So I can only assume you're a hater. I'd rather go watch Love Rosie to go see some real yearning. I love that book, Love Rosie, and I love the film. I would say they're quite similar in the themes of years gone by and just kind of missing each other and still pining after each other for all these years but having a deep love and connection. So I guess that can't work, but this person obviously had a favourite. What can you do? I'm not reading the reviews that are swearing at me because I think that's a bit much when it comes to books. Might have been a 2 stars if it had quotation marks. This is, some people hate it. Some people can't get past the fact that this book doesn't have quotation marks. But like I said, it didn't bother me at all. It's so interesting. It's so interesting to me. Some people do not hold back in their reviews. The characters are lifeless. I wish them all a very painful death. Such was its mundanity. I will be bringing the rage this poorly written book inspired in me up to my therapist. Yes, that's a good idea. It mustn't be healthy for me. The first book of the year I couldn't finish. Awful, awful book. Ouch. And on that note, I'm going to conclude today's video. It's not easy. It's not easy reading reviews, tearing down the things you love. But I've done it for you and I've done it for your entertainment today, so I hope you've appreciated it. I don't think I can sit through any more pain or any more traumatic experiences reading such hurtful things about my love for literature. So I am afraid to announce that that does conclude today's video. As always, thank you so much for watching. If you've watched this far through the video, it means the world to me. Please give the video a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, all the things. Let me know what you want to see next. I'm planning a few reading vlogs coming up in the next few weeks, so that should be fun, exciting, a new format. I hope you all have a wonderful week and I will see you all again very shortly. Bye bye.